Now that our Black Briar Reserve mead has aged for a few weeks, it's time to bottle everything. After boisterously bathing our black bottles in starcin, we can begin the battle of bottling up our beloved Black Briar beverage. We decided to harvest the mead a couple of weeks earlier than I usually do. Now this is because each of the flavors all have the perfect balance between one another, and I didn't want any of them to become more prominent than the other. Using a hand corker, we'll seal up the bottles with wine corks, and now all this mead has the potential to stay good for years to come. But before we leave these bottles somewhere dark and room temperature to age for a few years, let's add a few finishing touches to make these bottles go from amateur to professional. First, we'll add some wine seal capsules. And you can find these at any local homebrew shop or Amazon. Just make sure you have a heat gun to shrink wrap the seals. And now, the final touch for our Black Briar Reserve mead, a professional wine label. Don't mind the hand, I'm sheltering a caveman from the CIA. Now, I found these printable wine labels on Amazon. They work pretty well, but I wouldn't say they're the most ideal. The ink tends to bleed if it gets wet, which will happen if you're pouring wine out of the bottle. If my fellow winemakers have any better suggestions, please leave them in the comments. But aside from having your mead name and brand label, make sure you include the fluid ounce and the alcohol by volume percentage, which we got at the beginning of this mead making process when we got a gravity reading, which was 16.2 in case you forgot. I always put a government warning because it looks professional and so there's no mistakes about what it is. But here is the finished result: 30 bottles of Black Briar Reserve. Make sure to like and follow to see more mead making videos.